Father, this is thy session, not mine, not ours in the sense of human organization, but thine, thy voice, thy guidance, thy grace. We have gathered not to hear a man, but to hear God. Therefore we begin aright. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. Be still and know that I am God. Without thee I can do nothing. With thee all things are made plain. Now, let us do the one sensible thing before we do anything at all. Make a small space within yourself. Release the rush, the plan, the anxiety about how this hour should go. Without a moment of stillness, we go forth as if to do something of ourselves, and we cannot. And the reason is this: as long as self sits upon the throne, the imprisoned splendor cannot escape. But with a pause, with 10 honest seconds in which we say, Father, thou doest the works, we make room for the river to flow, room for the wisdom that was before Abraham was. Close the eyes now, just 10 seconds. Say nothing. If words bring strain, or whisper, Father, this is thy session. Thy grace is my sufficiency. I live, yet not I. Let that be enough. 10 seconds, be still and know. Good. That is all it takes to change the government of an hour. A period of meditation may be as little as 10 seconds. But if it is sincere, it is as if the helm has passed from our trembling hand to the steady hand of the invisible. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on thee. We have stayed our mind. We will return to that stay again and again. For peace is not a single drop. It is a river that wants to keep its course if we do not dam it up with our self-doing. I tell you frankly, the promise of this hour is simple and large. 4 in the shifts, 4 little hinges upon which a great door swings. If you will take them as promises, not as techniques, you shall find that victimhood dissolves as snow before the sun, and sonship stands revealed. You will watch, perhaps with some surprise, as the old reflex of fear, blame, and clutching yields to quiet, abiding, inner agreement, yielded action and outward flow that bears much fruit. If ye abide in me, and my words abide in you, ye shall ask what ye will, and it shall be done unto you. Herein is my Father glorified, that ye bear much fruit. So shall ye be my disciples. We are not here to improve the withered branch. We are here to return it to the vine. The 4 shifts are but 4 ways of spelling one word: abide. We will see them in due order, but let the heart know the order of our trust now. We shall pause to abide before we act. We shall receive the promises as living assurance. We shall yield our agency to the Father within who doeth the works, and we shall let love and supply flow out, for supply multiplies only in the breaking and giving. What have you in the house? Whatever it is, 10 seconds of stillness, a single verse, a small willingness that is enough when broken and offered. This morning, before coming to you, I reached for a plan. I felt the pull of how to arrange these thoughts. And there came the inner word, so soft it could be mistaken for my own thought. Pause. Make a place for me. That is our safety. That is our method. So again, before we proceed into maps and practices, let us make a covenant together. No step in this hour without acknowledgement. Father, take thy place at the helm. We will keep the eye stayed, the heart offered, the self yielded. And as we do, we shall find that it is not we, but the indwelling who speaks, who heals, who organizes, who provides. For it is written, the Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. Let us begin there, and only there. Now let us look plainly, but without condemnation, at the withered branch in us, the reflex that says, life is doing this to me, and rises up to hurry, to argue, to dread. We do not look to accuse. We look to understand. For the Master has already given us the lens. If a man abide not in me, he is cast forth as a branch and is withered. And men gather them and cast them into the fire, and they are burned. The withering is not wickedness, it is non-abiding. It is the habit of moving before pausing, speaking before receiving, doing before yielding, grasping before giving. Consider Anna. She wakes to a delayed train, a sharp email from her supervisor, and a notice of an unexpected bill. What does the human reflex do? It hurries her body, tightens her jaw, floods her thoughts with the old narratives. I am behind. They do not see me. There is never enough. She hammers out a defensive reply, then deletes it, then writes another. She scours the calendar, juggling tasks like hot coals. She checks the balance twice, 3 times. She prays, but the prayer is bargaining. God, please make them change. Make the money come. Make the day ease up. And behind it all is the quiet conclusion. Someone out there must rescue me. The boss must relent. The transit must be smooth. A friend must text back. A bit of luck must show up. Anna is not evil. She is withering. The branch has tried for a morning to live without the vine. Do you see? Not fate, not some sentence laid upon her from the foundation of the world. A habit, a withered branch habit, born of non-abiding. The Master said also, without me ye can do nothing. And the reason is this: a branch severed even in imagination ceases to draw. It still has form, emails can be sent, bills can be shuffled, but it has no sap. Reaction is the sound of saplessness. It is thirst moving faster. We have all known this. I have known mornings when a letter on the desk seemed to demand an immediate answer, and in my self-importance I composed one. And before the ink was dry, the inner voice whispered, too late, you answered of yourself. Then came the pause that should have been the first move, and in that stillness the answer changed. Don't be afraid of mistakes, and don't be afraid of failures. None of them are fatal. If you have already reacted today, do not heap a second burden upon the first. Though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down, for the Lord upholdeth him with his hand. Failures are for a day, mercy is for always. Now, let us be practical. Identify here and now one recurring trigger that seems to pull you into that stream. Is it criticism, delay, a bill, a certain tone in a loved one's voice? Name it not to nurse it, but to unhook it, bring it into the light. And when next it appears, give it 10 honest seconds of holy refusal, not refusal of the outer condition, but refusal to move without the vine. Whisper, without thee I can do nothing. Say it not as a sigh of defeat, but as the key that opens. Without thee I can do nothing, and therefore I will do nothing of myself. Be still and know that I am God. This 10-second humility dethrones panic and seats the presence at the helm. It does not yet solve the email or rearrange the ledger or speed the train. It does the greater thing. It returns the branch to the sap. And what of Anna? The next time she feels the heat of that email, the ache of that bill, the press of the clock, she need not become a student of her misery. She need only become a student of her pause. Father, this is thy moment. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. In that acknowledgement, the victim reflex loosens its grip because it has lost its root self-doing. Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy God. Friend, victimhood is not a destiny. It is a practice we have rehearsed. And any practice can be unpracticed by abiding. Begin with this one small obedience. Name the trigger. Whisper the truth. Let the branch drink. Let us, while the heart is still quiet, lift our eyes to the ladder itself. Clarity precedes fruit. If we are to cease withering and begin abiding, it will not be by accident, but by four simple inner agreements. Think of them not as techniques, but as doors. Each opens to the same room, the Father's presence, taking the helm, yet it helps the mind to see the doors plainly, so that when the wind rises, we do not fumble in the dark. First, from reaction to holy pause. This is the gateway. Make no move, at least not the first one, without the 10 seconds that say, Father, this is thy moment. Without thee I can do nothing. In that breath, panic is unseated and presence is seated. Be still and know that I am God. Or again, in quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. A period of meditation may be as little as 10 seconds. Yet in those seconds, we return from being the withered branch to being a branch drawing sap. We are not delaying life, we are acknowledging life before we act. Second, from opinions to promises. After the pause, do not rush back to your own counsel. Let the words speak, not as vain repetition, but as living assurance. What promise do you already know by heart? Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. My grace is sufficient for thee. If ye abide in me, and my words abide in you, ye shall ask what ye will, and it shall be done unto you. Take one. Take it as a deed of gift, not as a slogan. Hold it until the inward atmosphere shifts from fret to faith, until the soul says, yes, I accept this as true here, now. The promises received and relied upon transmute fear into quiet confidence. Third, from self-doing to the doer within. The pause has acknowledged God. The promise has anchored you. Now the agency must be yielded. I can of mine own self do nothing. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. This is sonship in action. It is not apathy. It is yielded living. Ask within, what is mine to do as thy instrument? Then wait a breath longer than your habit. You will find that ideas, timings, words, and even reprovals ripen without strain. Christ in you, the hope of glory, is not a figure of speech. It is the doer discovering your hands and your schedule as his own. Fourth, from getting to giving. Here the flow completes itself. Instead of clutching at supply or love, you become a conduit. What have you in the house? Whatever you have, kindness, a listening ear, a small sum, a truth that steadied you this morning, break and divide. Give, and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down and shaken together and running over. Nothing must come to you. Everything must flow out from you. As the flow begins, the storehouse proves itself infinite because it is not yours, it is the Father's. Over and through these four runs a golden agreement. Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. Not grabbed, received. Let that be the thread on which the four beads rest. When you pause, you are agreeing that all that the Father has is near. When you take a promise, you are agreeing that it is yours by grace. When you yield to the doer, you are agreeing that his sufficiency, not your strength, accomplishes. When you give, you are agreeing that the river cannot run dry because its source is God. Now a simple practice. Before this hour is over, take one small card and write 4 lines. 1, pause. Father, this is thy moment. Promise, thou wilt keep him in perfect peace. 3, doer. The Father within me doeth the works. 4, flow. What have you in the house? Break and divide. Put it in your pocket, your wallet, your phone case, This is your portable rule of life today. Glance at it before the email, before the meeting, before you answer the child, before you look at the bill. We are not trying to leap tall buildings. We are learning to abide one rung at a time. And as you keep this clarity, you will find that fruit appears of itself. First the blade, then the ear, after that the full corn in the ear, not by hurry, but by the quiet government of God. Now we come to the first rung, the holy pause. This is not a technique to calm the nerves. It is the transfer of government. A period of meditation may be as little as 10 seconds, but in those 10 seconds, something of infinite consequence occurs. We say, Father, this is thy hour. Go before me. Or, if you like, with the psalmist, be still and know that I am God. That is enough. The pause dethrones panic and seats the presence at the helm. In that 10-second humility, the branch remembers the vine, sap returns, counsel begins. In returning and rest shall ye be saved. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Make this your rule, gentle but firm. Make no move, call, email, correction. Spend without first acknowledging the presence, not as superstition, but as sanity. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. You will find, as I have found, that the first words you would have spoken of yourself are not the words the Father within would have spoken. 10 seconds change the accent of a life. 10 seconds turn the quick tongue into a patient ear. 10 seconds keep the hand from signing the check the fear wrote, and open instead the wisdom of sufficiency. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Let us be practical. Set 2 or 3 set pauses daily, morning, midday, evening, 2 or 3 minutes each. Not to say much, to say little. In the morning, Father, this is thy day. I live, yet not I. Then rest those words in silence like seed in good soil. At midday, thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Stay there, 2 minutes, 3. In the evening, the Father within me doeth the works. Let tiredness melt into gratitude. These set pauses are the trellis upon which the living vine can climb around them. Let there be spontaneous 10-second stops before the phone, before the door, before the answer. Make no move, at least not the first, without the acknowledgement. Anna, you remember, was ready to fire back a sharp reply. In the old habit, she would have matched tone for tone and then carried the weight of it the rest of the day. But this time she remembered the rule. She put her fingers flat on the desk for 10 seconds. Father, this is thy moment. Go before me. In those seconds, her breathing slowed. The sting in her cheek cooled. A verse rose unbidden. A soft answer turneth away wrath. She did not justify herself. She asked a clarifying question. She proposed a next step. The supervisor replied, "Thank you, let's try that." The outer story was not dramatic, but the inner government had changed. The pause dethroned panic and seated the presence at the helm. Now a small obedience you can make before this hour is over. Take the device in your hand and set 3 alarms for today titled, Pause, Thy Grace is Enough. 1 in the morning hours, 1 near the middle, 1 toward evening. When they sound, do not explain yourself to anyone. You are not joining an organization. You are acknowledging your source. Let the alarm become a sanctuary bell. Say quietly, Father, this is thy hour. Go before me. Then be silent 10 seconds or 2 minutes if you can. If words come, let them be few. Without thee I can do nothing. With thee all things are made plain. If no words come, that is even better. Be still and know. And if you forget and rush, do not condemn yourself. Don't be afraid of mistakes, and don't be afraid of failures. None of them are fatal. It is of the Lord's mercies that we are not consumed. They are new every morning. Begin again at the very next door, the very next call, the very next breath. Make no move without acknowledgement. Each pause is not an interruption of life, it is life asserting itself. In the accumulation of such small obediences, you will discover a large truth. Reaction has lost its scepter, and the quiet king has taken his place. Now that the tongue has learned to wait 10 seconds, let the heart learn to lean. The second shift is from opinions to promises. When you rise from the holy pause, do not run back to your own counsel. Opinions are many, assurances are few. The word is not a garnish to your thought, it is the bread of your day. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. Take them not as slogans to chant, but as deeds of gift to which you consent and on which you quietly rely. Vain repetition is of no value. Living reliance is everything. Consent and lean. What promises then? Choose the anchors given you in the Scriptures. Let them hold. If ye abide in me, and my words abide in you, ye shall ask what ye will, and it shall be done unto you. Herein is my Father glorified, that ye bear much fruit. Here also thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Hear the shelter of it. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. And when you feel the thinness of your strength, let the apostles speak for God to you. My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. These are not decorations for a wall, they are the architecture of a life. Take one, sit with it after the pause until something within says, yes, not an argument won, but an atmosphere changed. You will notice the difference at once between a mouth reciting and a soul consenting. Reciting pushes words outward. Consenting lets the words sink in and take the weight. Lean the day upon it as you would lean upon a trusted friend's arm. You need not collect a dozen verses. One will do, one promise received as present tense truth. Let it become the hour's diet until the mind, returning to fret, finds a new habit. It runs into the promise and is steadied. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Make the red letters your companion. Carry a small red letter New Testament in your bag, or keep the red letters ready on your device. Take one saying of the Master as your day's bread. Abide in me, and I in you. Or fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Or this royal assurance, all things that the Father hath are mine. And its answering echo from the Father's own mouth, Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. Whisper that echo, not as grasping, but as sonship received. All that the Father hath is mine, not to hoard, but to trust as sufficiency, wisdom, guidance, and love. Present and active here, Anna began to do this. The morning after her 10-second obedience, she opened to John 15 and found her eyes resting on, Abide in me. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. She did not rush. She read it once, then closed her eyes and said, Father, I accept this as true of me now. I abide. Thou bearest the fruit. She sat a minute longer than felt natural, letting the words sink from head to heart. At mid-morning, when the second sharp email arrived, the old opinion rose. Defend yourself. Explain. Hurry. But she had written the promise on a card by her keyboard. Her eyes met it. Abide. She breathed her 10 seconds and whispered, Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. The reply she sent was clear, brief, unheeded. Later, In the tangle of that bill, she heard within, call before you assume, she called. A grace she had not known was available, adjusted the due date, no fireworks, much fruit. Do this now. Choose one promise, only one. Perhaps thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Or, my grace is sufficient for thee. Or, if ye abide in me, and my words abide in you, ye shall ask what ye will. Speak it softly where you are. Consent to it. Yes, Father, I accept this as present truth. Now place it where your eyes will meet it thrice today. Make it the lock screen of your device. Tape it to the mirror. Lay it on your desk. When your glance finds it, pause, breathe, and lean again. We are not charming the air with phrases. We are staying the mind on God. And as you do, you will prove the key thought of this hour. Promises received and relied upon transmute fear into quiet confidence. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Let that be bread enough, and you shall not faint. Now we come to the crux of agency. If we have paused, and if we have taken the promise as living assurance, then let us take the third step. Yield the authorship. I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. The outcomes are not our province, obedience is. Our part is consent and availability. His is performance. Not that we are sufficient of ourselves to think anything as of ourselves, but our sufficiency is of God. Sonship is not self-improvement. It is yielded living. It is the quiet transfer of government from the anxious planner to the indwelling doer. What does this look like at 10 in the morning when the inbox is full and the clock stares? You have already paused. You have leaned upon a promise. Now ask, within as one who expects an answer, what is mine to do as thy instrument? And then wait one more breath than your habit. That extra breath is not delay. It is the womb of guidance. Sometimes you will feel a nudge. Call first. Or be silent and let it ripen. Or send the paragraph you wrote yesterday, not the one you are editing now. It is written, I can of mine own self do nothing. As I hear, I judge. Hearing becomes the spring of your action. For it is God which worketh in you, both to will and to do of his good pleasure. The willing arises without strain. The doing carries a light upon it. Well, what if you mishear? What if you follow a whisper and it seems to go awry? Don't be afraid of mistakes, and don't be afraid of failures. None of them are fatal. Correction is built into abiding. Though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down, for the Lord upholdeth him with his hand. I have written letters under the pressure of my own cleverness and mailed them, and then the inner voice, patient and gentle, showed me the next step that dissolved the blunder altogether. He restoreth my soul. If you move in trust and discover you have moved of yourself, pause, acknowledge, and ask again. The shepherd is not counting your stumbles. He is leading you. Failure is for a day. Mercy is for always. Anna discovered this. On a tense morning, promise in her pocket, she drafted a reply to her supervisor. It was careful, but she felt the old steel hiding under the politeness. In the pause, a sentence rose. Wait until afternoon to reply. She almost laughed. The efficient voice in her said, do it now. Clear it. But she had asked, what is mine to do? And she had said, I will be thy instrument. She obeyed the foolishness of God that is wiser than men. At 1 o'clock, before she wrote, a new email arrived. I've reread my note too sharp. Let's reset. Can we start fresh? Her answer became simple gratitude and a next step. She had not engineered favor, she had yielded room. The Father within had gone before her and done the work no phrasing could have done. Make small experiments today. Ask within before you answer, before you spend, before you plan. Heed the gentle nudge, even if it seems beneath your brilliance, especially then. You are making room for the imprisoned splendor to escape. Sometimes the word will be go, sometimes stay, sometimes speak, sometimes be still, sometimes give, sometimes keep your coin and give your ear. If you are tempted to argue, remember, the outcomes belong to the presence. Obedience belongs to you. Commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established. Yield the authorship and watch ideas, timings, and openings align without your tinkering. Now do this with me before your next task. Breathe and whisper, Father within, work thy work through me, not by might nor by power, but by thy Spirit. Consent to be the branch and let the vine bear the weight. Then proceed quietly, naturally trusting he shall bring it to pass. You will find that the strain lifts from your shoulders, the hurry loses its scowl, and answers come clothed in ease. This is the secret. Sonship accomplishes what striving could not, because it is not you laboring to be sufficient. It is sufficiency itself finding your hands. The Lord will perfect that which concerneth me. Keep to this rule, and fruit will appear of itself, first within as peace, then without as wise action that bears much fruit. If the Father within doeth the works, he does not end with you. Life does not pool, it runs. He that believeth on me, as the Scripture hath said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. Here is the fourth shift. From getting to giving. It is not philanthropy first, it is theology incarnate. The storehouse is within because God is within. And so the Master's gentle probe meets us. What have you in the house? Do not look out the window for rescue. Look within and around for seed. Kindness is in the house. A word of truth is in the house. Your prayer is in the house. A listening ear, a small coin, a lifted face, these are in the house. Begin there. Notice the law. Multiplication is in the breaking. He took the loaves, and when he had given thanks, he brake them, and they did all eat, and were filled. And they took up 12 baskets. The increase was not in the hoarding, but in the dividing. Give, and it shall be given unto you, good measure, pressed down, and shaken together, and running over. The world says, get that you may have. The kingdom says, break and divide, that the storehouse may prove itself. Nothing must come to you or to me. Everything must flow out from us. And the reason is this. We are branches. Branches do not draw to keep. They draw to bear. Freely ye have received. Freely give. As love and truth move out through you, you will find help arriving from corners you did not engineer, not by barter, but by the simple physics of grace. Flow begets flow. Let us be practical. What are the channels of outflow at your hand this hour? Blessing is one. Choose a name that troubles or blesses you, either will do, and send a sentence now if you can, or send it silently if you must. Peace of Christ be with thee today. That is not sentiment. That is sonship letting the river run. Forgiveness is another. Release one small grievance now. Whisper within, I forgive. Thy peace flows through me. Do not bargain for an apology. Break and divide the mercy you yourself live on. Truth is a third. Give a word that steadied you. Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Or thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Speak it into one conversation, or write it on a card for the lunchroom wall. If you have $1, break the dollar. If you have only an ear, give the ear. What have you in the house? Anna proved this. There was a debt she was keeping on a private ledger, a debt of apology owed by her supervisor. She had postponed kindness until payment. In the pause one morning, the word came, release it. She answered within, I forgive. Thy peace flows through me. Then she wrote one true, kind line at the end of her brief reply. I appreciate the clarity you're bringing. Thank you for helping us aim higher. No flattery, just a clean blessing, broken and given. Something invisible shifted. The tension in the thread slackened. The next meeting was plain and human. That afternoon, unasked, a colleague forwarded a resource that solved the billing snarl, a grace from a quarter she had not imagined. She had not purchased favor. She had allowed flow. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Do not mistake this law for a lever. We are not giving to pry open heaven. We are giving because heaven has been opened within. The Lord is my shepherd. My cup runneth over. Over is the natural state of a cup joined to a river. When you feel the claw of scarcity, ask again, what have I in the house? Then break and divide. A text of encouragement, a quiet prayer for the one who cut you off in traffic, a meal shared, a silence that honors another's tears. Let it flow, and you will discover that the fear of lack has no roots in the soul that abides. God is able to make all grace abound toward you, that ye, always having all sufficiency in all things, may abound to every good work. Now, a small obedience before we move on. Take one name and send one sentence of blessing, now or as soon as we are finished. The peace of the Lord be upon thee today. Then choose one grievance and lay it down. I forgive. Thy peace flows through me. Finally, place one truth where another may find it before sundown. These are not little things. They are the river finding its course. And as you live this way, you will see the key thought proved in your own affairs. Giving opens the infinite storehouse. Flow begets flow. All that I have is thine, says the Father. Receive it by letting it go out. Now, let us look, plain and human, at the case after the shifts. What happens when a withered habit gives way to abiding? The fruit is not always thunder and headlines. Most days it is quiet and stubbornly real. Outwardly, you will notice fewer flare-ups. Words that would have leapt now wait and soften. Calls that would have tangled now come clear. The person whose name made your stomach tighten becomes a face you can bless. Timely help appears from corners you did not arrange. A resource is forwarded unasked. A ride offers itself when the bus is late. The meeting you dreaded is moved to an hour when your mind is fresh. Rapport is restored, not a sentimental gloss, but a steady, workable peace with those you must walk with. Inwardly, the soul discovers quiet gladness without purchase. The breath, which used to live up in the throat, returns to its God-given depth. A lightness begins to accompany you into rooms that used to feel heavy. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, and you find that staying becomes your new normal. Trace it back, and you will see the same golden chain, simple as a child's prayer beads. First, you paused. 10 seconds of surrender turned the helm. Then a promise rose, and you consented. My grace is sufficient for thee. I accept this here and now. Next, you yielded the act. What is mine to do as thy instrument? And finally, you let something flow. A soft answer instead of a hard defense. A small gift instead of a clenched fist. A prayer for the one who had no advocate. Fruit followed without strain. Not a trick, not mental plumbing. It is the life of the vine manifest in a willing branch. I am the vine, ye are the branches. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. For without me ye can do nothing. Guard your heart here. If you try to codify these 4 agreements into a lever, The sap will seem to dry, and you will imagine the old withering has returned. Remember, the presence is the secret, not the method. The pause is only the door, not the room. The promise is the lamp, not the sun. The yielding is the steering wheel, not the engine. The giving is the overflow, not the stream's source. It is God which worketh in you both to will and to do of his good pleasure. When you forget and fall back into self-doing, do not scold yourself. Pause again. Abide again. For the earth bringeth forth fruit of herself, first the blade, then the ear, after that the full corn in the ear. Of herself meaning of the law of life embedded by God, not of your forcing. Consider the before and after in your own day. Before, the train is late. Your jaw tightens. By the time you arrive, you have spent your strength on an argument with air. After, the bell of the pause rings inside. Father, this is thy hour. A promise slips into place. He maketh my way perfect. You hear within, send a quick note arriving 10 minutes behind. You give the courtesy, and when you step in, the room is not bristling, it is ready. Or this. Before, you nursed the small ledger against a coworker. After, you sent a line of blessing and found a bridge where there had been a moat. Light, timely, sufficient. Commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established. Do a small obedience now. Take out your card or open your notes and write one new fruit already budding. Do not make it large, make it true. Perhaps I slept without rehearsing the quarrel, or I answered softly when I was pressed, or help arrived before I asked. Write it and whisper, herein is my Father glorified. Then name one place where you consent to expect much fruit this week. Call it by name, this project, this conversation with my son, this bill meeting. Say within, Father, I abide, thou bearest much fruit, not by might nor by power, but by thy Spirit. Do not watch the branch for growth. Abide in the vine, and let the life do what life does. When abiding leads, fruit follows without strain. The Lord will perfect that which concerneth me. Keep to the simple chain, pause, promise, yielded act, outflow, and you will find the withering forgotten and the day quietly laden, basket after basket, with the fruit of his presence. Now, because you have seen what simple obediences can do, let us settle a quiet rule of life, not an organization's rule, not a pledge to me or to any man, but a pledge kept in the secret place with your own Father. We have no organization. We have no memberships. You won't need me. You won't need meetings. You will have your contact with God. Enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret, and hear this promise as your confidence. Thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. Your membership is sonship. Your dues are devotion. Your badge is the fruit that appears without strain. Let the rule be humble and repeatable. In the morning, before the day scatters you, give the Father 2 or 3 minutes of consecration. Sit, breathe, and say without hurry, Father, this is thy day. I live. Yet not I, Christ liveth in me. The Father within me doeth the work. Then take one red-letter saying of the Master, only one, and accept it as your day's bread. Abide in me, and I in you. Or fear not, little flock, or seek ye first the kingdom of God. Read it slowly. Close your eyes and consent. Yes, Father, I receive this as present truth. Not many words, just enough to seat the presence at the helm. At midday, keep a trio of holy pauses, 10 seconds each. Choose your hinges. Before the call, before the purchase, before the reply. Or at the doorway, at the desk, at the sink. 10 seconds, 3 times. Say under your breath, thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Make no move, at least not the first, without this acknowledgement. These brief bells prevent the old government from stealing back the chair. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. In the evening, give 2 minutes to gratitude's review. Not an audit of failures, a recognition of fruit. Whisper, herein is my Father glory. Name what you saw today, small obediences, unexpected aid, a soft answer that turned away wrath. If you stumbled, lay it down. Don't be afraid of mistakes. None of them are fatal. It is of the Lord's mercies that we are not consumed. They are new every morning. Release any ledger you were tempted to keep. Say, I forgive. Thy peace flows through me. Then rest, trusting, he restoreth my soul. Use helps, but use them rightly. Carry a small red-letter New Testament. Keep a card of selected Bible texts, those promises that have become your anchors. But beware the snare of mechanism. Vain repetition is of no value. Accept them as promises. When your eye meets the words, do not try to impress God with your memory. Lean upon them as living assurances. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Stay your mind not by hammering phrases, but by consenting to their truth. Now, make 2 small arrangements before you forget. First, schedule tomorrow's 3 set pauses, morning consecration, the midday trio of 10 seconds, and evening gratitude. Put them in the device as quiet bells. Pause. Thy grace is enough. Second, place your promise card beside your keys or make it your lock screen so your hand and your eyes cannot pass it by. These are not superstitions. They are trellises for a living vine. And remember, the harvest here will not be in the volume of drama, but in the degree of your devotion. Be faithful in that which is least, and you will find you are faithful also in much. Show up to God, simply, daily, and let the secret presence govern the hours. We have no organization. We have no memberships. We have a rule kept before God alone. Keep it, and the Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. Abide quietly and consistently, and you will wake to discover that sonship has naturalized itself in your day. Steady peace, timely guidance, and love flowing out as if it had always been so. And now, Father, this is thy sending. We do not close a meeting, we open a way. Not by might nor by power, but by thy Spirit. We go not as achievers, but as branches joined to a vine that never withers. I am the vine, ye are the branches. Herein is my Father glorified, that ye bear much fruit. Let the commission be simple and lived. Do it with me once more before we rise. Pause, breathe. Say within, Father, I am thine. This hour is thine. Let the shoulders come down. Let the jaw soften. Let the heart consent. Now speak your promise only one softly and as present truth. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, or my grace is sufficient for thee, or abide in me, and ye shall bear much fruit. Consent, lean, then yield the next task to the Father within. Ask, what is mine to do as thy instrument? And wait one more breath than your habit. Finally, let one act of giving flow out now. Name a person and send, even in your heart, if not by text. The peace of the Lord be upon thee today. Release one debt. I forgive. Thy peace flows through me. Place one truth where another will meet it before sundown. Break and divide. Flow begets flow. Seal your identity and rest. Hear the Son. All things that the Father hath are mine. Hear the Father. Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. Agree within, not as grasping, but as sonship received. All that I have is thine. All that the Father hath is mine, as sufficiency, wisdom, guidance, and love, to be trusted and to be poured. I live, yet not I. Christ liveth in me. The Father within me doeth the works. Let the amen be quiet and complete. Carry a frame you can share in one breath as you live it. Pause, promise, parent, pour. Pause, seat the presence. Promise, lean on the living word. Parent, yield to the indwelling doer. Pour, let love and supply flow out. Teach it by doing it at the sink, at the desk, at the door. If one asks for your secret, give them that breath. Pause, promise, parent, pour. Then show them how to set a bell and choose a red letter. Make 3 arrangements for the next 24 hours. First, schedule 3 check-ins, 1 before you set out in the morning, 1 at midday before the pressing call, 1 in the evening before you dim the lights. Let the bell say, pause, thy grace is enough. Second, choose 1 person to bless by name today and do it. Send a sentence. Or if silence is called for, send the prayer that works while you sleep. Peace be to thee and to thine house. Third, choose 1 debt to forgive and 1 truth to speak. Lay the debt down before God now. Speak the truth kindly to the one to whom it belongs before the sun goes down. These are not tasks to merit favor. They are doors for favor already given to pass through. Do not be afraid of mistakes. None of them are fatal. If you forget, remember and begin again. If you stumble, pause and say, He restoreth my soul. The promise stands, commit thy way unto the Lord, trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. The Lord shall guide thee continually. You will discover as you walk that sonship, not striving, carries your life. The yoke will prove easy, the burden light, not because the road has no hills, but because another is bearing the weight. He that is within you is greater than any demand before you. And so go forth as branches bearing much fruit. Bless quietly, act when guided, be still when checked, and let your cup run over upon every table you touch. Keep your red letters near, your pauses faithful, your hand open. Now the God of peace make you perfect in every good work to do his will, working in you that which is well-pleasing in his sight. All that I have is thine, Father. All that thou hast is mine to trust and to pour. Amen. Go in this confidence, and the fruit will tell the story.